relationships, but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills.
When you're sick, you need medicine. It don't always taste good, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space alien. I'll save anybody. I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong.
Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why?
Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Man School 202.
Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't. Yo. What the deal? What's going on? GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted, and I am excited. All right, let's get it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome Sunday afternoon. Everybody who's in the building. Let me get the reverb out of here. Let me give a shout out to who's in the comments. Shout out to Philly to Don. Hunter, thank you for making it. Z&D Harmonies, what's up? If y'all hear me clear, give me a thumbs up. We can get into it. Everybody's still coming in slowly but surely. But it's getting ready to go down. Who else is here? You played yourself. What's going on? BAP, Liben Rivera, Kalia Hill. What's up? We sound good? I'm glad. Happy to know it. Let's see. Let me get the banners up. Cash App is up, yes? No, Cash App is not up. Cash App is up. Thank you so much. If anything that y'all want to give to support the show, that'd be great. Thank you so much. PayPal, if you're international, thank you also. Let's get the phone numbers up. There we go. Phone numbers up. 929-269-4922. Something I realized today. I usually, as I often do, is I was doing a consultation today, and I realized that we know more than we think we know. What do I mean by that? So often we know what to do, we know how to do it, but because emotionally we're attached to certain situations, and it's been that way for so long that it literally gets to the point where we just don't even access the information that we normally have. We ignore it because we don't want to deal with the consequence of what we know to be the case. And then when you hear somebody say something out loud to your voice, or ask you in a voice that you're comfortable with, when there's no hostility, or somebody is seeking some kind of solution because they're having a hard time, and you want the easy way out. But I feel like we know more than we think we know. We ask these questions, and there's this level of uncertainty. And as men, I think And it's interesting, and this is where I think women are highly more superior to a certain extent. I think it rolls both ways. Men will not ask for help. When you need help, men will normally not ask for help. Why? Because they perceive asking for help as being a failure. That I'm a failure of a man if I can't do it myself. And I just want to touch on that a little bit. I mean, I've talked about this before, but it is so unfair that you have an expectation of yourself that is unreasonable in a way that you feel as though that you can't ask for help, or that you're a failure if you need something, especially when there's clear situations where you have never experienced these things, or you've never had it explained to you. Anybody that's great at something, they're usually great at something because they've practiced, because they've made sacrifice, taken energy to be good at something. Very rarely is somebody good at something without practice. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's certain things that we have a natural knack for, but if you really want to gain any real expertise, you got to practice. And a lot of times we don't have the experience in relationships. We haven't been taught. A lot of times our parents really haven't had that stuff figured out in their own lives. And so how do they, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not, dogging nobody's parents, but the reality is a lot of our parents just were not equipped for modern day. I thank God every day because, well, I don't really thank God, but that's figure of speech. My dad at least gave me basic principles about integrity and truth and stuff like that. And, what he perceived as a man. And I think he was right in a lot of cases. I don't think he always practiced it, but at least I had a format. I had something to model. And then I just had to like polish that diamond in the rough throughout time to really get to the sole source of why or why not certain things work or certain other things don't work. I just think it happens that way. Anyway, happy Sunday. Let me say that. Let me see who else is in the chat. Let's see. Luis de Jesus. Let's go Cards 04. What up? Miriam Luma. Oil Per. What's going on? Hey to everybody. Phone lines are open. 929-269-4922. Let's go whenever y'all ready. Let's go. Cash App is up on the side. What up, Kyle? What up, Sandler Francois? Phone numbers up. Cash App is up. Phone lines are wide open. Let's get it in. Let's get started. But what I was speaking of is that you have to learn to forgive yourself for things that you don't know. If you haven't been taught, if you haven't been exposed to it, if you don't have somebody in your life saying, well, this is the best way to handle it, you can't expect yourself to be good at it. I'm not great at money management. I'm good at earning money, but I'm not great at managing my money. And it's interesting because you think about what are your motivations and what were your motivations in life, right? And when I really think back, I always talk about this, how my dad and my mom played favorites. I have three older sisters, and they always played favorites. Now, did they play favorites because they liked me less? I don't know. Did they just because they were women, they treated them different? And maybe my dad was old school. I don't know. But I know as a child, you can tell when somebody plays favorites and when you're not the main one. But I think also a lot of times we're looking for our parents to be this morally, ethically, intellectually evolved individuals because, when we were little kids, this is the caregiver, whoever our single parented or one parent or whatever, whoever took care of us, and so we just assume that these are the people that we grow up looking up to. A lot of times you see, the same thing happens like you get dudes who go, and this is no disrespect to Islam or Christianity either way, but if you got people that are starving and you got a Bible in one hand and a sandwich in the other, that's who you indoctrinate yourself. If your people, if you're the people that you love and and you respect or have a specific code of ethics or a religion or a culture or whatever, we subscribe to that because that's what we know. That's because as children, this is what we look up to. This is what we think is important. This is the way we see life as it's put forth to us. And so I think as we get older and we become mature, I think we need to reassess the way that we're navigating our life, especially if we're not in a place where we're as successful as we could be. We got to look at, first of all, I've said this a bunch of times. You have to figure out what the destination is. What do you want your relationship to look? Do you want to be the top G who, is in a great marriage with, productive kids and of supportive marriages? You have to maintain that. Is it you just want to fool around? Is it just you want to meet people and explore things and keep it light and lively? I say this over and over. You can have whatever it is you want. You can be polyamorous. You can come home to two women if that's what you want. And I know that sounds great in your head on paper, but when you realize that there's a responsibility, there's a level of responsibility that all of that stuff requires. And once you're in these situations that seem almost like fantasy, there's a responsibility that you have to have. If anybody's had threesomes or thinking about threesomes or want to get to the point with threesomes, I understand the idea of it is enticing, but trust me, dog, there's a whole thing. You can't be relationship guy and be doing threesomes. There's a certain psychology that has to be behind that, and not only that, but the women who you have it with have to have a certain psychology. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad time. So anytime you see, I'll say, my girl said, we might be able to have a threesome, but she don't want me to kiss them. And this is a whole thing where it's like you're dealing with somebody who doesn't want to do this. And if you're dealing with somebody who doesn't want to go down that road, you got to ask yourself, do I lack the empathy to say either, why am I making somebody do something they don't want to do that they're not going to enjoy anyway, which is ultimately is going to be trash anyway, because it's nothing worse than somebody giving you some pity cat. Nobody wants to know, instead of putty cat, no pity cat. You don't want that. It's horrible. Anybody that doesn't have their mind in it, and that's anything, in a relationship, in a business, at a job or whatever. If you're not in it with the intention on being competent, why would you want that? I get that the idea is exciting, but all of that goes away real quick once you're experience it, you know. Um, and so I realized that again and again and again, every time I ring around the rosy, I talk to somebody, I'm always in a situation where I'm always pleasantly surprised how everything goes back to the same principles, the same principles of authenticity, credibility, and empathy. Because if you have empathy and somebody is not into women, and then you're asking her to be into women, it's just like, what are you doing, dog? You know, I mean, think about it like this. And the way you could always test the empathy is switch it around the other way. Would I be okay with that? What if she's turned on with me hooking up with a dude with her? Like, you wouldn't do that. So you don't ask people to do things that you won't do yourself. But I also think that a lot of times we get so comfortable and we're so habitual in the ways that we do things that we don't even ask if it's the way we do things, if we even like it, if we even are enjoying ourselves, or are we just going through the motion about what we're supposed to be or what we think we're supposed to be. And when we ask those questions, more often than not, we're surprised. I find that people are really surprised about the answers that come out. And what I mean by that, the answers will not come out as common as you think it is. I liken the analogy is like if anybody's gone to like an all-you-can-eat buffet, right? The first time that you go up, you grab your plate, you go to the front, and you get a little bit of everything. Plate is piled up, and then you try this, you don't like that, you don't like this. When you go back for your second plate, the plate is just very more specific. Like you got the crab legs, yeah, you like the coleslaw, you like this, whatever pieces you like. And those other things, all those peripheral foods that you just had piled on your plate, you don't put them back on your plate the second time. And then the third time is really where you have decided what it is you want, what it is you really like, what it is that really tickles your fancy. And don't get me wrong, that can change what you want in your life, what you want, that can change. It often does. We know that changed because 80% of all divorces are filed by women. So a lot of times it's not even within our control to, if somebody wants out, they want out. But when you stay righteous, it just that if there's not always a regret from that, there's always a rude awakening about somebody who thought that their situation was going to be something that it was not, because they haven't been held accountable. They don't hold their own self accountable, and they have no idea what the future looks like without you in it. Also, a lot of times I find that, time after time and time, I hear guys call me up, oh, I love my girl, and I ask them why, and they don't even know why. It's almost as if they feel as though this is because I did love them that I love them now. And when you ask yourself this question, this speaks to being present. Because when you ask yourself why, if you can't articulate it, here's the thing. I was doing a consultation one time, and I asked this guy. I said, I love her, and I go, why? And he go, she's beautiful. Okay, she had nothing to do with that. I mean, who her parents were really is the thing that makes her beautiful. When she walks in a room, she lights the room up. Okay, you're still saying she's beautiful. I mean, when we go out, we look good together. Again, that's what you've only said one thing why you like this woman. Then when I asked him, so I said, forget about it. I go, you into sports? He goes, yeah. What do you want? He goes, I love basketball. And I asked him, what's your favorite team? He says, Golden State Warriors. And I asked him, well, what do you like? Why you like them? And he starts going through Steph Curry and this and the stats, and they did all the millions of reasons why he loves Golden State Warriors, right? So what it says to me is that if you can articulate this about something as insignificant as a basketball team, but you can't articulate in a real way what you love about your wife or your relationship or something, there's a good chance that you're not in the right relationship. I'm not saying all the time, but I'm saying there's a good possibility, because it's sort of like the ice cream question. It's like, what kind of ice cream you like? I love chocolate. If you ask me why I love chocolate, I don't necessarily know why. It is just a feeling, right? But when you're talking about a relationship, there are specific things that, in terms of cultural and communication reactions, where we react to certain things and we understand why this person is important to us, why this person fits, and it goes way beyond just looks. I can't tell you how many times I've had, ask, well, what do you love about your girl? And she's cute, she's sexy, she's, just they'll name the same things in different words. So I think that we, in essence, we are trying to become better human beings, more with more depth and more substance. And the problem with that is, when we become more substantive, the people around who are not that way, we become dismissive of it. I mean, and I understand how that happens. I also understand, how should I put it? I also understand how what gets easy for you, you start thinking, well, it's easy for me, it's probably easy for everybody. And that's just not the truth. Um, everybody, anytime you hear somebody say, come on, it's just common sense, you got a problem. First of all, that's not an argument. Second of all, that's not an answer. It's just because it is. Because everybody knows that. Anytime you hear somebody with that kind of nonsense or whatever, hold on, let me get this fan. It's getting warm in here. Anytime you have that situation where you can't articulate it, there's a reason why you can't articulate it. And I think we have to look like that. And I think the communication that we have with other people have to be better. But I think also what we have to do is the communication with ourselves have to be a little bit better. One of the things that I say is, never let anybody define you. Because if you let them define you, it won't be long until you ain't worth nothing. See, because it's great when people love you and they're talking about how dope you are, but the minute they don't like you, or the minute you don't do what they want you to do, then all of a sudden you're trash. And we don't want to give anybody that kind of control over us. We don't want to give that that somebody gets to be the overlord of how we think about ourselves. And the only way we can do that is, we can't take the compliments either. Like, if you take the compliments, you got to take the criticisms. It's like a saloon door. It swings both ways. If you're saying you will allow somebody to make you feel better because they like you or they approve of you, you are also saying, when they think when they think you're worth nothing, that you will accept that. Also, you're not saying it verbally, but that's just part of it, because you are putting what your value is into somebody else's thinking. Let me go to the comments real, see who else is in there. Kyle X, what's up? Jersey Warner, I think it is. Don Philly the Bull, what's up, baby? Ali Dante Ali, what's up? That's from Australia. Shout out. Wandering Ghost, what's up? In Salem One, what up? Samurai Jack, what the deal? Diamond DJ, holla at your boy. Miriam, appreciate it. I have a good girl, but I want to enjoy the rest of my 20s. This is an interesting thing. Let me go back. There's a couple of good ones here I want to, since nobody's calling, let me deal with this. You played yourself. Let me look at his comment real quick. Your pleasure. This is why what's great about Land of Five Bricks. It teaches you how to be mindful and aware, and then you realize you got to be mindful to women and want it less. Absolutely. If you're caught up in the fact, if you are just dealing, like, understand, desire and lust is still an emotion. And if you allow emotions to have a seat at the table, I've said this 100 times, and that's any emotion, then you're giving away control. And if you're giving away control, you're subject to the decisions that other people make. Let me see what Diamond says. He says, I lost a woman to a woman by brainwashing her. Don't it chat? Do it chat? Don't do it chat. I'm not sure what that is. But I'm going to say this. When you say I lost a woman to a woman by brainwashing her, don't do it. Oh, that's what it is. Don't do it, chat. I got you. So I'm assuming that he was brainwashing her and he lost it. Look, you got to understand something. People are going to do, I've talked about this a bunch of times. People are going to do what they want to do. You cannot stop people from them going to their true essence. So as much as you say you brainwashed her, but she was already gay. You know what I mean? Like, if she wanted somebody, she was going, we got a call. Cool, let's get into it. Let's see. Bang, bang, bang.
To accept, press 1.
What's up? What's up? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, man? I'm Ty. I'm from Philly.
What's up, Ty? What's going on? How can I help you, bro?
What's up, man? I'm a long-time fan. I've been listening to you since back in the Patrice days.
Dope, man.
It's an honor to talk to you, man.
I appreciate you.
I know you charge for this. I'm getting it for free, but I just wanted to ask you, like,
sure.
I was with this girl I met recently, and it just broke off. Like, I spent all my time, like, I have kids and I work a lot, so like my time is precious to me. So
right,
I spent like a lot of my time. We went on vacation. Like, I took her to the beach a couple times. And then it was time to get back to hustle mode, and she just dipped. Like,
okay,
it was like I couldn't like keep providing that lifestyle for her.
Let me ask you this: how many times did you go out?
We went out a lot. I mean, probably like 10 times over the summer. You know.
Were y'all sleeping together as well?
Oh no, it seems like a lot to me.
Were
Definitely.
Huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So, what is your question? I understand what the situation, but what's your question?
Did I just like come off too strong in the beginning?
I mean, look, here's the thing. I think you can listen. Time that we have has ebbs and flows, right? So there's times when we have time, and there's times when we don't. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're with somebody. And like, here's the other thing. I mean, what did you ultimately expect to come out? Like, what outcome were you looking for?
I was looking for like kind of like a mother to step in, kind of like in place of their mom, because I have full custody of my kids. I'm like one of the few. And
okay,
twins,
so let me ask you:
like, kind of looking for some help with that.
Was she interested in that?
I couldn't really tell. I mean, I'd see her interact with him a little bit, but it wouldn't be like, it would kind of be like
standoffish,
kind of like not really into it. Yeah, standoffish.
So here's it's funny you say that, because I don't know if you heard the first part of the live, but one of the things that I was saying was, people are gonna be who they are, right? And they're also going to show you who they are. So if up front she wasn't really into your kids, right? What made you think she was going to be into them and she was going to be down with your program? What you did was, like, I always say, when you buy a house, you got to buy the house based on what it's appraised today, not what it was appraised 10 years ago, or not what it's going to be appraised for 5 years from now. You pay the price of today. And the price of today ain't the price of tomorrow, and the price of today is not yesterday's price. So in that sense, if you think about that, all you did was represent, you was a good time Charlie, right?
Right.
And she was like, oh, I like this. This is cool. And then when it changed, you expected her to do what? I mean, the assumption was whatever the assumption was. I mean, you had this particular assumption that if I do this A, B, C, and D, then I'm going to get that. Anytime you're moving into a situation that's transactional, right? You can't be the only
Right.
one that knows that this is transactional, because you're
Absolutely.
going to get disappointed because you are saying, I'm giving you this time, this energy to be a part of my life. But ultimately, if this is what you're expecting up front, man, you absolutely needs to be in the mix. There needs to be an understanding of, otherwise you're just wasting time, money, and energy on somebody that's not really on your program in the first place. You feel me?
Exactly.
And
It's
so
communication, huh?
yeah, and then you're looking for a relationship. I mean, one of the things I don't do is I never say that a man should ask a woman for a relationship. Like, here's my thing: you got to understand the difference in men and women. If you, how old are you? You mind me asking?
No, 32.
All right. So what's your body count? Like, in the course of your time living, how many chicks have you been with?
I've probably been like 40,
Okay.
50.
So here's my
40.
question: have you ever been in a situation where a woman wanted something and she didn't say it?
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
saying,
you
when
can
a
tell
woman,
by the look on their face.
right?
Like,
I mean, not only is it a look on their face, but I'm saying they out and out. They'll go, well, where is this going? What are we? You know what I mean? Like, you
yeah,
gonna get.
yeah.
They don't. It's never a situation where somebody is interested in you in a way long term where she's not gonna make it clear. It ain't gonna be long to you till that's questioned. So I tell dudes, even if that's what you want, that's what you're looking for, then you don't ask for it, because if you're asking for it, she don't want it. 9 times out of 10, because I've never met a woman who wants something that doesn't make it clear about what she wants. She's not gonna waste her time. First of all, if she's a baddie, she's got options and she can be with whoever she wants to be. If a chick is not calling you back, it's because she don't want to talk to you. There's no,
Yeah.
there's no. I mean, as much as I'm teaching the game of this, right? There's no magic bullet. I mean, you got to be the best choice that she can make. And if she's saying, I'm not interested in being nobody's mom, then that's not even a thing. What you want is, you want to be going out with a girl on a date that you told her you got twins, and she says, when am I going to meet your daughters? See, if she says, when am I going to meet your daughters, she wants to meet your daughters.
Right.
If she's never said it, trust me, she don't want to meet them. She's good with spending your money on vacations and hanging out and doing whatever and never seeing your kids. Now, if you got to understand, if your stuff, and I mean, you have custody, you said you got custody of twins, yeah?
Yep.
So what I'm saying is, you taking care of them and you doing what they're doing anyway, right? And
yeah,
she doesn't want to feel as though you're looking for somebody to come and pick. You gotta have that locked down. And then when you're hanging out with them, I don't know what you're doing with your phone. You gotta stop doing whatever you're doing for your phone.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Because I can hear it on the recording. What I'm saying is, if she's not saying, I want to see your kids, like, one of the things about my son's mother, right? I watch anytime, like, we could be in a full party, right? Adult party. And if there were kids there, she was not with the adults. She was messing with the kids. So I knew that she liked kids. It was just evident. And I'm not saying that every woman has to be that, but if she's not asking you about your kids, it's because she don't care about your kids. And nor does she have to, if it makes sense, Right. So if you're presenting something, what you're really trying to do is do the old bait and switch. I'm this great boyfriend who's got freedom, and I can do this and I do that, and this is so come on in, and then on the back end you like, but I need a mom to help me with these damn kids. Come on, you know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Let's be honest. If you were in, if the shoe was on the other foot, and some woman had 2 kids, and she was looking for a daddy, right? And y'all hanging out, and y'all smashing in the car, all kinds of, and then all of a sudden the model changes from to like you a good time Charlie to oh now help me change these diapers. You ain't gonna go for that either. But what I'm also saying
Not
is,
yeah, not if I didn't know.
I'm also saying that there are definitely women that want to be part of that. You'll meet women. I don't know if you have, but there are women who will be like, when am I going to meet your daughters?
Right.
Anything a woman wants, she's going to ask. If she's not asking, you should assume that that's not what she wants. And if she says, and if you're with her and she hasn't asked, and then all of a sudden you say, well, you never really introduced me, your daughters or whatever, you go, listen, I didn't think you were interested. But now that you're talking about it, I would love you to meet my daughter. You know what I'm saying? People respond to things differently when they can make their own choice about what they want to do, as opposed to when you got it all formatted. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I've seen situations the opposite, where a woman, it's funny. I just counseled a guy who married a doctor, right? And she had her lifeline all worked out. I want to be married by this time. I want to move to another country. She wanted to move to Canada. I want you to move to Canada with me. I know you got a business, but you got to relocate your business. Then we got to have our first child at this. Like when you're talking to somebody like that, there's a red flag goes up. What it means in essence is, Doug, all you are is a placeholder. She could, any dude could fit into that place as long as they do what she wants them to do in the formatted time that she's got allotted. And what you'll also find is women like that are never happy because they're living on a schedule that they don't even know if this is the schedule that they want. Make sense?
Absolutely.
So you gotta date and give your time to somebody, and if they're not showing those signs naturally, trust me, that's just not what they want. Makes sense? You gotta stop fucking with this phone, dog. I hear you fumbling around.
My bad, bro. Yeah.
Right.
My bad. I'm at work, but
okay.
Yeah,
all
man,
right, cool.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. I mean, call back, dog. I mean, but you gotta find the person that fits. And they gotta wanna fit. They gotta want to make you happy. And if you're a good dad and you're responsible with your, I mean, that's a woman who is mindful of that. A family is gonna see how you treat your daughters, and that's gonna be that's gonna be a feather in your cap because she's watching you how you rock with your daughters. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
All right.
That makes sense, man. All right, Dante, I appreciate you, man.
All right, family. I'll holler at you. Phone lines are open. 929-269 4922. Phone lines are open. Let me go through these other comments. I've seen Insane One. That's kind of hot. He goes, let me put this up on the screen. He goes, I've seen women divorce their husbands after a sequence of threesomes, mainly because the wife prefers a regular person to a random one each time, and a regular third girl ends up in the home afterwards. Yeah, I mean, that is true, and every part after that. It could be sometimes you'll find women, or you're into these threesomes, and she find you explore. This is a crazy story. I had a friend of mine who ended up being a dirtbag later, but he used to manage Patrice and manage me for a period of time. And he was with a wife. He had a wife, and she was wild, and she was down with threesomes, right? But then she wanted threesomes with a dude, and he ended up finding out that he was gay because he had the threesome with the dude. So he was more into the dude than anything else. So what I'm saying, when we move into these these realms where we want to be explorative, understand something that don't always turn out the way you want. Sometimes you're opening up something in somebody that you may that they didn't know was there, or maybe it was there and you're allowing it to open it. Or it opens up the scope of things, and then now they're making these options or making these decisions about what they want or what they don't want based on what you've exposed them to. So I mean that's always an interesting thing too. Let me see, the second part is the best threesomes when you're dating either of the people when you're not dating. Yeah, I mean that saying yes. I mean it's great when it's strangers and y'all just it's a one-off because you could keep it moving. But I've seen it where it wasn't that, where people were friends. I mean, there's no hard and fast, excuse the pun, but there's no hard, fast truth about any of it. The great thing about this, we're in a place where you can decide what your life looks like. You can decide how intense or not intense it is based on your experiences and what you experience and what you like, what you like and what you like and what you don't like. Diamond DJ says if you got a wife, don't do it. Yeah, I mean if she's not already in the chicks, chances are she's not in chicks. Diamond, what up? D Young 86. Yes, I do accept Zell. Let me see. You could just if you put my name in. I mean, I don't know if y'all know my government. I'll just say this for the record. My government is Reginald, Reginald Dante Nero. So if you just type me in, my picture will come up on the Zelle. You can find me. And my email is Dante Nero the comedian @gmail.com. If you want to Zelle me, I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Miss Patrice, but Patrice was wrong, but gave me so much. Doug, I mean, here's the thing: we don't, just because Mike Tyson bit somebody's ear off. It's not like we are not reveled in Mike Tyson's sheer success in the ring. Yeah, I mean, we look at things prospectively. We back up off of things prospectively, and we look at it in a wide view, and we can still you know, we can look at the mistakes and things get better. I mean, progressively, we should be getting better. I mean, when I say this all the time, man, I miss Patrice every day. I wonder what conversations we would be having now if it was, you know, if he was still alive, and we just, you know, he's not. So, you know, we got to keep our chin up, buck up, and keep pushing these ideas and these thoughts forward. What's really insane is how we get all these dudes who have no idea what they're talking about. They haven't worked out their own personal stuff, and then they're giving advice and you know, taking people's money about stuff that they don't even know what they're talking about. Let's see what else. It's a good number, 30 women by the age of 30. Let me just see who else is in the chat that I haven't shouted out. Phone lines are open, y'all. I'm sorry. My bad. I didn't put it up. Phone lines are up. 929-269-4922. You know, as many times as I said that number, I still don't remember it. So you don't need to. Yeah, well, that goes without saying. A train. How's you? 2 + 2 is 4, but I don't know about that. Anyway, Rico, what's up, baby? Cyberpunk, what's going on? Luis, I shouted him out already. All right, phone lines are open, and I think this my girlfriend wants to get back with her ex. Chandler, I'd like to talk about that. Call in, let's talk about it. And you can't be calling her your girlfriend if she wants to get back with her ex. And if she wants to get back with her ex, why hasn't she done that? That's a question I would ask. Um, yeah, Hunter, you're right. He was on some Alex Jones and shit, but a lot of time, I mean, but this is, I mean, we all got those blind spots. Everybody has those blind spots at times where they get caught up in some stuff or whatever. I mean, you know, as we look at, what it, Alex Jones, when Patrice was talking about Alex Jones, he had no idea that he would have been sued of fraud for almost $60 million after the fact. You know what I mean? So, I mean, things change as we move forward, and you don't want to, you don't want to hold people to an extent that we wouldn't hold ourselves to. You know what I mean? Two things that we will always have to do. I've said this at least 100 times. Is something that let me see if I can send you this email here. Let's see. We got a number here. Hold on. Let's see.
To send a voicemail.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Meir from North Carolina.
What's up, man? How can I help you, bro?
I'm calling you because I've been listening to you, but I'm in a weird situation to where it feels like I've never had a chance to live my life.
Okay.
If that makes sense to you.
What is that? What do you? I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it kind of, but you're gonna have to give me more than that.
Okay. What I'm saying is, because I can't even really ask you for relationships, because since adulthood I just been stressed. Like ain't nobody never tell me what to do. I've been kind of like wandering, trying to figure stuff out, but I've never had like the comfortability of actually wanting to do something for myself.
Okay, yeah, that's I'm not sure what you mean. Like, are you saying that you've been in relationships?
I'm saying in the sense of like having a personal life. Like I haven't had the chance to like build my own life out yet.
How old are you?
26.
Okay, and when you say personal life, to build your personal life, what would that look like?
Honestly, just I don't even know. Honestly, at this point, I really don't know.
Well, I mean, do you work?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, do you have a skill or something that you're trying to do?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm just trying to learn anything I can to move forward, because I ain't gonna lie, because of like real life things, I do need a skill. Just because of my resume being messed up, I'm in the country too. So
yeah, I get it, but even if you're in the country,
yeah,
right? Here's my thing. You're basically what you're saying is you in the boat with no oars, just going down the river, floating.
Yeah,
but
more or less.
But first of all, you gotta be in a situation. You gotta know where you want to go. Do you understand what I mean? Like you have, if you spend a little time just thinking about, well, what do I like? What am I good at? What am I not good at? Where can I go? What do I want to do? What are the things that make me happy that I do now that'll make me happy? And then maybe we can kind of sort that out.
Okay.
You're I don't know, like what do you expect that at some point in time it's just gonna all come to you and be clear?
No, definitely not.
Okay, but you also don't want to. I mean, look, I know comic friends of mine who went to law school. Well, I mean, he passed away, but there's a famous comic that passed away, but his name was Greg Giraldo. He was a lawyer, but he started doing stand-up comedy, and he kind of found himself in that. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a law degree and then find out later that you don't want to do law. I'm not saying that you can't do that if it ends
Yeah.
up that way, but I'm saying you're 26 years old. You are the monopoly game is just starting, right? You pick,
Yeah.
I guess you picked the race car, right? And now you got to decide what you want to do, what direction you want to move. And it's almost a blessing, the fact that you're 26 and you're like, you want a life, but now you got to think about what that life looks like.
Okay.
Because here's the
That
thing.
makes sense.
If you want to, it's like the Three Little Pigs, right? If you want to make your house, you first thing you got to want to make a house, but then you got to decide what materials you're gonna make. You're gonna make it from straw, you're gonna make it from sticks, or you're gonna make it from brick. Depending on what is your intention, what is your destination, you're gonna do different things. You know what I mean? Like if you want it made out of bricks, then you can't go in the forest and cut down wood. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you
If there's a job that you want, if there's a field that you want to work on, you got to make that decision first. And so before you start stepping, I always say like this. I mean, I know you're in the country, but you got Uber out there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first thing you got to know when you order up an Uber is what's the first thing you got to know is your current location, is where you are right now, and that could mean your emotional state, it could mean your educational state, it could mean your financial state, it could mean all of the above, which is your current location. And the second thing you have to know is what the destination is. Where do you want to end up, right?
Okay.
But if you haven't decided that, it's not really about you, like what you said, and I think your quote was, I'm just learning as much as I can. Yeah, I get that. There's nothing wrong with being somebody who's open to learn things. But if you have something that you perceive that what you want your life to look like, you gotta have a direction about that. One thing about manhood is, more than anything, is you need to be intentful, the things that you shouldn't be talking unless you got something to say. You shouldn't be wasting time and energy, because if you learn how to focus what your energy is, right, you will get there so much quicker. But if you haven't even decided what the happiness looks like, what the finish line is, then how do you even get there?
Expect to go anywhere.
I give you an example. I was a real street dude. I was never somebody that was toting guns, right? Not saying I haven't had my share of experience with guns and stuff, but when things was crazy, my favorite weapon of all time was an ice pick, right? And I'll tell you why the ice pick was so, because the ice pick can go through anything, go through a coat, it can go through a bulletproof vest, it can go through leather, it can go through you can if you get a good ice pick, you can put it through a cinder block, right? You can put a ice pick through somebody's skull, or so I've heard, right? But why is it so invincible? It's because it takes all of your pressure, right? Your forward pressure, and it puts it on a pinpoint, right? And so nothing can stand up to it, because let's say you're pushing this ice pick forward at, let's say, 50 pounds or 70 pounds of pressure, right? It's 70 pounds on a pinpoint. So it glides, it goes through anything. Right. My point is, your thinking has to be ice pick in nature. You have to ice pick your thinking. You want to figure out what the objective, what the pinpoint is, and then put all of your energy, focus it on that thing. So if it's education, if it's carpentry, if it's plumbing, if it's welding, then once you have a destination, now anything that you're doing outside of that, right? You're only going to sabotage the destination. For instance, let's say you want to drive trucks, right? And now you're out drinking all the time. You're always drinking and you're driving, right? You and I both know all that has to happen is you get one DUI, and then you won't be able to get your CDL. So now, because you hanging out with some friends and you doing some dumb shit, right? Now
Yeah.
if your dream job is for you to be a trucker, and I know people who love being on the road and they love the whole idea of traveling across America, and you know what I mean? They just love doing it. What I'm saying, but if you get a DUI, right? How you gonna
Yeah.
you can't you have sabotaged the
Yeah.
goal that you have even before you've gotten there.
Yeah.
And so you got to define what the end result looks like so that you know what not to do.
Okay.
And so that you know what to do, you know? You just
Yeah.
if that's something you want to do, you don't do dumb shit that's gonna, I mean, if you want to be in law enforcement, last thing you want to do is have felonies. And so you need to
Yeah.
act differently to navigate this so that you can get to your goal. Now, what I want to say is, as much as it's important for you to kind of define what your goal is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's even more important for you to understand that number one, for you to understand that it's not just about reaching the goal, right?
Yeah.
We're living while we're achieving these goals. You have to enjoy the process of living. Does that make sense? Because if
Yes,
only
sir.
thing you're focused about is what the end result is, right? You miss your
Yeah.
whole life. All the things that get you to that point that ultimately those are the things that make you who you are, that make you interesting
Yeah.
or cultured or disciplined or all of those things. So yes, you wanna understand where you are, you wanna understand where you wanna go, but you also don't want to be so uh single-minded that you're only thinking about once I get to this point, then I'll start living my life. You got to live your life all the way through. You're going to be in relationships. You're going to meet people, and you're going to learn. And as you learn through traveling through, as your life passes through you're going to learn how to do things easier. It's so
Yeah.
easy for me to recognize red flags. It's just so obvious. I mean, I could be talking to somebody for 2 minutes and I get a bead on them immediately. Like, okay, I've seen this before. Like this, like I
Sound like
always,
you got them 10,000 hours.
yeah, because it just you
Yeah.
start to see the patterns. But you gotta
Yeah.
start. You gotta enjoy the process of learning it. But
Okay.
you also don't want to be in a situation where you don't want to be in the boat just floating down the river with no oars
I mean, I
either.
ain't gonna lie though, that's the situation I feel like I'm in just because I don't have direct control over what is around me in the sense of like I'm not able, I mean, in a literal sense, I'm not able to leave the house at all. Like a week ago,
Yeah.
when I was gone for a week straight, that's the longest I've been out of here this whole year.
But why?
Like
Why?
I really
Why?
be
Why are
stuck in
you
the house.
locked in the house? Why is that a?
Because honestly, I'm in the country
Uh-huh.
and it's hard for me to get up with people. And then on top of that, we ain't really got no real bus system down here.
Right. Right.
So I'm just stuck. Like I'm
Is
not
there?
able to get
But let
around
me ask
people.
you: Is
You
there?
know?
Is there work down there? Can you work?
Well, honestly, this past year I had a bad skin infection
Okay.
in a bad place too.
All
Of
right.
course,
Well,
in the worst place.
here's my thing. I mean,
Go ahead.
all of those things are obstacles, but what I'm saying is there's a way to kind of put one foot in
Yeah,
front of the
there's a way
other
to go over that.
and start to
Talking to
move.
you, I'm realizing that.
Yeah,
Talking to you, yeah.
I appreciate that, but I mean, I think also here's the thing. I mean, if there's a
Yeah.
physical thing, you got to take care of the physical thing first. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, if you are in a town that's depressed, you know what I'm saying, and there's not
Yeah.
opportunities, and you want opportunities, then you got to go somewhere else.
But see, the thing is, I've already done left. Like I went across the country,
Yeah.
the whole nine. It's just that I don't have like my legs up under me to stay where I'm at. If that makes sense to you.
Well,
Like,
what I'm saying to you is,
go ahead.
then you got there's a move for you to there's a way to get your legs under. Like, here's my thing. You're
Yeah.
telling me you are diagnosing yourself. You know that you're in a town that's depressed. You know that your legs on. So then what's the question we need to ask is how can we get the legs on?
How do we get out of this?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the only and if you focus on that alone, how do I get my legs out from up under me? Right. Then the next thing is, well, where can I work? What are my opportunities for work? And even if there's limited opportunities, you can find something. And then you're gonna have to stack your chips and make the sacrifice. You can have whatever you want. You just got to be honest about whether or not you're willing to make the sacrifice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it ain't all gonna happen all at once, right?
Yeah.
But it can happen. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be easy. None of it is. I don't give nobody no magic bullet. You know what I mean? None of it is. It's easy, but it ain't. It's not. It's simple, but it's not easy. That's how I put it. So
that makes sense.
You have to be able to be willing to make the sacrifice, and to be honest with yourself. If you're not willing to make those sacrifices, it ain't gonna move. Nothing's gonna move. And 10 years from now, you'll end up in the same situation that you were in the first place. And that's just not what you want to do. So you got to so here's your homework. Figure out what you have available to you right now, right? Where you're at, right? Figure out what, in the best case scenario, what you like, what you want your life to be, or what you want your life to look like, right? And then take a piece of paper and list the obstacles that are in your way. And then put those on a sheet and then knock them down one by one.
Okay.
And don't get discouraged, because there's always going to be obstacles and things are going to change. And as you grow and you move forward, your destination might even change. It may become,
I wanted to ask you something.
Sure.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I said what I had to say, but go ahead.
Okay. But I wanted to ask you, see, the thing is, in the past, well, I don't know if I even should be looking at the past.
No, you shouldn't be looking at the past. But go ahead, finish. You started it, so let's finish.
Yeah. In the past, I sacrificed, though. Like, the only reason why I'm dealing with this skin thing is because when I moved, I actually moved down south to Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was willing to go the distance. My cousin literally froze what's healing. Like, he literally froze my tail off. But I'm the type of person.
What do you mean? Doing what? Would you get frostbite?
I don't know. Like, honestly, to this day, because I haven't seen a dermatologist, because what happened that year is we got into it. I ended up coming back and ended up healing.
Okay, stop.
At the end of last year, it came back.
Stop. This is
go ahead.
You got. If this is a health thing, you need to. I don't want you to air your laundry out like that. But what I'm saying is, you're a young dude, right? You have to find a way to get that straight first, right?
Yeah.
So that means even if you don't have the money or whatever, or you don't have health care, you got to go to clinics. You got to talk to somebody who can help you to get that. That's your first step. The second, but while you're doing it, you can chew gum and walk at the same time. You can think about what you want your life to be, right? And then work on the first step is to get healed so that you're healthy, right? And then from that, once you understand what it is you want, then you can figure out the steps for you to get there. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And stick to it. Write it out. Write it out so it's obvious to you what you want to accomplish, and post it on your refrigerator or post it over your bed or on your mirror so that you can see it, so that every day when you brush your teeth, you're focused on moving things forward. And I promise you, if you do that, that you will not be in the same place as you are now within 6 months to a year. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
All right. Phone lines is open, y'all. Let me see. Let's see who we got here. Yeah, it is deeper than a phone call. That's a lot. But I mean, we sorted it out, right, Carl? Caller, I brought her home and living my life for the first time in 4 years ago. Recently single, 1.5 years ago. It's great. Dope. I love hearing that. Dante, I want to say thank you. I've been an avid toy and comics collector. I told women that up front, no go, but my wife of 7 years understands my needs of me. Your advice has gotten me through some, let's see. It's got me through some, is that the whole thing? Yeah. Got me through some. Yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing: is you're loving comics and anime and toys. I mean, you do know that there's a Comic-Con, right? And there's a bunch of chicks that are into the same thing that you're into. They're dressed up like Chun-Li. So what I'm saying, and you're around a bunch of guys who are a lot of them are not going to know laying the 5 bricks, and they're not going to be social. You will make a killing there. So that's that. You wandered into the right place. Come join the Patreon and get a consultation, Mayor. Welcome to the brother. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all definitely looking out. It's my family for real. Because I really don't have much of a family anymore, other than my son and my wife. But I mean, I've become so distant from people because one of the things that I say this all the time is that that old saying that blood's thicker than water, right? That's not the actual saying. The real saying, there's a long version of that saying, which is the blood of the covenant is stronger than the water of the womb. What it means is the opposite of blood is thicker than water. What it means is the blood of the covenant is the relationships that we choose to cultivate and be with, the ones that we choose to put work into, right? And the water of the womb is those relationships that exist because of our genetic connection, because of who our mother was, who our father was, who our brother. And you got to understand something. You can be in very toxic, you can be in very toxic families where the people around you are just not right for you to be talking to. So if that is the case, you have to, I know it's difficult, but you got to distance yourself from
Alex.
people who are going to sabotage your life. What's your name? Where you calling from, bro?
Yo, what's up, Dante? What's going on, man? It's Alex.
What's going
I'm
on, Alex?
from New York.
What's going on, bro? How can I help you?
Yeah, it's funny, man, because I was just listening to you and you're talking about, you don't have family and, you cut a lot of family off. And I know, I've been listening to you for years and,
Yeah.
You speak about your sisters and
Yeah.
the whole situation you got with them. And I'm in a similar situation now with my brother, I'm trying to just cut him off. He's a real, scumbag. And we've been close, for years, but just he's been acting crazy, the past couple of years and, messing with drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, it's just hard for me to.
How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 39.
And how old is your brother?
He's, we're a year apart, so he's 38.
Okay, so my thing with that is, look, I don't mean to be cold about people's situations. Like if you talk about somebody has a substance abuse problem or drinking problem, whatever it is, but the problem, also there's a situation where you get people who have these problems or have these weaknesses, and they're not making an effort to make it better, right? And
Right.
every time they backslide or they screw up, then you become the object of their disdain or the fact that they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. Then you become it always bleeds into your life. And I think that anybody who has problems, it's funny, like I tend to be very kind of a bit of a loner. Like I have good friends and I have people that I can count on, but I also, a lot of times I don't, like I'll have friends of mine, yo, why don't you just call me? I would have came, and I just don't think of it like that. So mindfully, I'm always kind of feeling like, because I that's how I was in my childhood. It was like I was on my own, figuring it out on my own. And if I wasn't figuring it out on my own, I was figuring it out, and I was, feeding other dudes who didn't have the intellectual maturity or the emotional maturity to move forward. And so I was always looking out for people. And so what happens is when you become that guy, you also become the guy. You become the guy that people start to count on all the time,
Right.
even when they don't have to count on you. You get used. And so
Right.
you also have to figure out who you are as a person. I know I'm a person that gives anybody who is, and I guarantee you this, I would be hard pressed if there's anybody in the chat or anybody listening that will tell me I'm wrong. I don't think that have ever done a consultation where I didn't give whatever the client more time than they paid for. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because I genuinely care. I genuinely want to be successful in what I do, and I want people. I want the business that or the service that I provide for people to say, wow, this dude was exceptional. And if you look at the comments, if you listen to the calls, I it's very rare for somebody to call up and say something that's foul, because I live this creed just like I'm preaching it to y'all. And so in essence, you got to understand, you got to differentiate, you got to be honest with yourself about the people around you. And if your brother he's grown man. So if he has these patterns, and I've talked about this before, I don't know if you heard me say this, but I mean, a lot of times when you get people who are screwing up their life, right, it's hard for you to understand this because that's not how you think. But a lot of times their intention is to screw their life up. And so when
Absolutely, man. I told him that before. I heard you say that multiple times, and I was like, maybe that's the path you lead him in, and I don't even want to be in the way.
Right, and if that's what you want, but you got to be clear that if that's what you want, then I'm not going to be part of that. I have one of my good friends was like, he had a substance abuse problem, and a couple of times I had to fish him out of crack house, bail him out, and plenty of times he burnt me with money, like where I was doing, we were hustling on something, and he owed me money, and then he would disappear with the money, and then he'd end up in rehab, and they'd do the 12-step program. Then he would come back out and say, I wanted to make amends, and I'm like, yeah, but what about that $3,000? That would make the amends. And so this is that, you really want to make amends and give me my money, you know what I mean? And then, but he didn't have access to that. And ultimately, when I think you could love somebody and still, keep them at a distance where they can't hurt you. And if somebody's constitution is to constantly take advantage of you over and over and over again, you got to be honest with yourself. Is how long is that going to be before you go, yeah, enough of this?
Yeah, man. Because speaking of that, it's draining too. Dealing with someone like that who's constantly lying. And we've had these talks, man, and he just goes like, yeah, man, I know I have an issue or whatnot, and you're talking about your friend or whatever, your ex-friend owed you money, and that was the case. Like, my brother burnt me a lot of times. I was making more money before.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years ago, we moved both our parents in, because we don't really have a lot of family, so we're both taking care of them. And I'm carrying the brunt of the weight. But now he got a job 2 years ago where now he's making more money. He's in sales, so he can make a lot of money, but he's also blowing a lot of money. And now it's also to the point where he's borrowing from a lot of his friends and his boys, to the point where I had to reach out to them and be like, yo, don't lend them any more money. He pays it back for the most
let me
part,
tell you something. Here, don't be in a situation where you become his policeman either. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one thing if somebody asks you, yo, your brother, blah, blah, and then all you got to say is, I don't lend him money. I don't lend him money, and I don't lend him money because he doesn't keep his word. But you also got to be willing to say, you also got to be willing to say, I don't lend him money. You can do what you want, but I'm not lending him no money. You know what I mean?
Right.
But in order to say that, you also don't want to be in a situation where you're aggressively policing him, because then that becomes your job. And you got to understand,
Right.
when somebody screws up, it's one thing when they screw up once or maybe even twice. But if this is an ongoing thing where you keep going back to, well, yeah, it's great that he's making money now. But if he doesn't have a mindset where he really thinks that his life has meaning, and that he can achieve things, he's going to go right back to the same old crap. And it's
Right.
going to be a burden to you, and because it's your brother, you're going to keep digging in and digging in and digging in, and then it's going to end up, you're the only one that's going to hurt, because I guarantee you he's going to screw it up. I mean, you gotta
100%, man. That's how I'm feeling now. You know, like I'm like carrying the burden, and like my mom is in the hospital right now, and he's out partying and doing what he's doing. It's like
then you need to stop.
I'm over
And
here just
and when
fucking
it's
up.
and then when he's all on his feet and everything's going well, you gotta stop. The other things, you gotta stop talking him to death either. Also, because he's not listening to you.
That's the problem.
Yeah, he's
Bingo. That's
he's
the
not
problem, man.
listening to you, dog. He's when he asks you, half the time when he asks you your advice, people are not. You know how many times I've done consultations with dudes, told them specifically what to do, and then they did the total opposite all over again. You know, so
Yeah.
and I used to take offense to it. It's like, what's wrong with me? But what I realize is it takes people time to get to the place where they can actually fix their own stuff. They're caught up in patterns, and it's habitual. I mean, I can't tell you how many times on this show, we on the show, guys have called in, yo, yeah, I did a consultation with you 6 years ago, and then, well, I got a problem now, and the problem that they're talking about now is the exact problem that they had when I talked to them 6 years ago, because you have to get to the root of what makes you make the decisions, that what makes you choose the women that you choose, what makes you choose the relationship that you choose, then what makes you make the same mistakes all over and over again. If you can't get to that, it's never going to change. And it's not easy to change. You got to stick with it. You got to really push. You got to remind yourself and understand this, you're going to fail. Like anytime I put somebody on my program and they're laying the 5 bricks, I'm like, you're gonna fail. Like even when they get that, they'll. I mean, I've had guys who, 20, 30 years old that never got laid, and then they, all of a sudden they hook up with me, and I got a guy particularly. He's got 2 on the hook right now, and he's 28 years old, and this is his first knockdown, right? And he's smashing and whatever, and I'm like, look, understand, you're gonna screw this up. Like, I know it's all good, it's all gravy, but you're going to screw this up. And so when you're in that situation, I mean, there's no way you're like, if you see boxers, eventually every boxer, they either get beat or they take a beating enough that they go, listen, it's time for me to retire. Or they quit on top. But how many people quit on top? And don't get that itch to go. So understand that we are all subject to failure. It's not you specifically. You can't take it personal. Things change, people change, and when it does, you got to be honest about it. You got to be honest about the fact that these things are going to change, and that you're going to make mistakes. Because I promise you will make mistakes.
Right.
So
I'm at the point now where like I'm just have so much resentment and damn near like borderline just really hate what he's doing to himself and just to our relationship. And the thing is, the family doesn't know about it, so it's like he told me and a couple of his friends about his his habits and all that stuff, and his friends are there talking to him. I'm there always talking to him, and I feel like it's just like a big failure, and that's why I want to like reach out to you, because I know you have the situation with your sister, and I'm at the point where like you think I should just like have a talk with him about like, yo, I'm just gonna move on with my life and I don't want
No,
to,
you
you
just
know,
got.
I don't want to have
You should
contact with
be.
you, or just
Let
do
me
it.
ask you this: if you made yourself unavailable, not necessarily had this. I mean, first of all, I don't believe that you should ever call somebody up to tell somebody that you're not going to call them up. You know what I mean? Like you
Right,
see how
right,
ridiculous that sounds when you say it. I'm
right,
gonna
right.
call you up to tell you that. I mean, the last thing you want to do is call a girl up to tell her that you're not gonna call her no more. Just stop
Right,
calling her. When she
100%.
calls you and asks you why, how come I don't hear from you? You go, well, this is why you were disrespectful, or this, or I'm not into it.
Right,
Whatever. I understand that people say that you give people the common courtesy to kind of let them know, and you get this thing. You know how like
right,
you be in a relationship and some girl, look, I need you to come over my house. We need to talk. Yeah, I'm not. Because I'm not spending the
right, right.
gas. I'm not spending gas so you can tell me you can tell me over the
Word.
phone, because whatever it
Yeah,
is, if you don't want to do this, there's nothing to really talk about. Unless,
right,
of course, unless y'all have a rapport where you're communicating in a way at that depth. But chances are, if y'all are breaking up,
right,
then you don't have that level of communication anyway. So
right,
you
right,
don't get I'm not giving somebody more time to tell him I'm not going to give him no time. Just you make yourself
right,
available, and if you matter to him, right,
right,
he will make time for it. And if you only matter to him when he needs money or when he's in a bind or whatever, then you see, we all people's actions communicate. There's a subtext to people's actions. The problem is that we
right,
don't want to hear it. And because we don't want to hear it, we put up with it. Like if your
right,
brother, and I said, I've done this in relationships where we talk about, if your brother said, yo, I love you, you're my brother and all that, but I love you because you're my brother, but I love drugs more than anything. And when I'm
right,
getting high, I don't really give a fuck about you. And I'm going to, honestly, I'm going to try and cheat you out of money. I'm going to ask you for money. I'm going to screw the money up. I'm going to act like I got myself together, but deep down I know I haven't, and I'm going to continue to keep treating you like trash. And he said, okay,
right,
brother, right? You would go, no, I'm not signing up for that, right? You would
right, right,
absolutely say that if he verbalized that. But the point is, he
right,
doesn't have to verbalize it. His actions are showing. Everything about his actions is when he's getting
right,
high, and that's no reflection on you. And it's also, I mean, he has an addiction, and so and I understand it goes deeper than that. But what he's
right,
saying is, when I'm getting high, I don't care about you.
right,
You just a stranger, and you are a chip on the table, and I'm willing to use it in any way possible to get my drugs and to be on the BS that I'm on, you know. But if
right,
somebody
right,
verbally said that to you, you would be forced to remove them from your life, you know.
right, right. And that's the thing, when we have these talks, man, it's like we have these heart to hearts, and he's like, yeah, man, I know I'm not the best brother, I'm a piece of shit, all the stuff. And he
David,
goes on and on acknowledging these things, and then
yeah,
it's like
but the
manipulation,
acknowledgement
right?
is acknowledge. Understand something.
Right,
The Doug, the acknowledgement of what the truth is. The truth, I've said this, and this relates to something a little bit different. If a guy's
right,
7 foot and somebody
right,
goes up to him and says, yo, you tall, right? That's not a
right,
compliment, right? All that is
right,
is an acknowledgement of the truth. So you
right, right,
don't get off the hook because you've acknowledged the truth. You get up. Forgiveness comes with change, with action.
right,
Forgiveness is a verb, and so it has to
right,
come with some level of action and some level of somebody saying to you. Because what I'm saying to you, in essence, is you and your life, your existence is important to me, right? And I screwed
right,
up, but I'm willing to make the amends to get us back on a level where I can have you in my life, because I believe that you in my life is an enhancement. You make me better.
right,
You make my life better, right?
right,
So if somebody's not doing that, even if they're doing this,
right,
yeah, I know I screwed up, yeah, all of that is trash. I remember my boy, I had fished my boy, one of my best friends, and we're good friends now. but he's been clean. He actually got himself together. But we, 2 different times we fished him out of a crack house, right?
Right.
And then we had a mutual friend who was we all came up together, and he called me, yo, so and so. I'm not gonna mention his name, but he was like, yo, so and so was in. Now he was in Boston. I'm in New York. He's in Boston.
Right.
Yo, he's with this girl. He took this girl's car, sat the girl's car in front of the girl's car's in front of the crack house. She wants to call the cops on him. And I'm going up there to go get him. What are you doing? I said, I'm watching SpongeBob. Like, I'm not like, so you expect me to go to, and I'm not a Boston dude, right? So now I'm going up in somebody else's hood to try and hook my man up, right? To get him out, fish him out.
You have no idea what's going on there.
Where I have no idea what it is. I'm risking my life. But here's the funny thing. My boy, our mutual friend, went and got out there and sat out there. And so the dealer was like, yo, what are you doing here? He was like, yo, my man is, I'm not leaving until you get my man out here, right? And because he was creating a ruckus, they didn't want no heat from the cops, so they ended up throwing our boy out of the crack house, right?
Right.
Brought him home, cleaned him up. We worked everything. He worked everything out with the girl that he had basically, indirectly stole her car, right? Then they, he got back on, got detoxed, and then he went to rehab. And then his son had been born, and his son was like, yo, I want you, here's a few dollars if you could come as Barney. Want him to come to his son, dress up like Barney, right? So he gave him the money for the costume, and he ran out with the costume money. And his son, I think his son had his 3-year-old birthday party. We wanted Barney, and he couldn't. And we didn't have no Barney because he took the money and got high off the money. What I'm saying is, people don't stop until they're ready to stop. And when you make it easy for them to just use you and abuse you, it always it don't stop until they get tired of stopping. So keep 100%. That in mind. The actions, whatever actions he's given you, is what he feels. Make no bones about it. I'm not saying he don't love you. I'm just saying when he's high, he don't give a fuck about you.
Right.
He cares about that get high, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's nothing I can do, man. Because,
nothing you can do.
I try to talk him out of it. But I'm not a counselor. I'm not a, I'm not prepared. I never even dealt with that.
Even if even if you were a counselor, you can't make him do something he doesn't want to do.
Exactly.
So keep that in mind.
Right.
All right. Make sense?
I appreciate you, big dog.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Take care. All right.
Let me see who's in chat. Phone line's open. Y'all know what it is. He's crazy for jumbos. Y'all are clowns. Chanel Uno _Uno. David Berkman. What up, baby? Let me see. Carl. What's going on? Logan Scott. It's called Lip Service. When you wrote Lip Service, I thought you was talking about Angela Yee's podcast I did years ago. But anyway, Anthony, what up, baby? Everybody in the chat, y'all kicking it. I'm also want to try and get this this Discord. I'm trying to learn about this Discord and how Discord is a conversation that happens amongst us, amongst this community. So what up, Hunter? I'm trying to get these and just make things a little more sophisticated to bring this community closer together. Still working on the merch. The merch should be up soon. I'm trying to be as consistent as I can with the lives so that we can come together. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and subscribe and share all that good shit. Important, super important for y'all to do that because it it keeps things going. Don't forget the Cash App, please. Cash App is up there to PayPal. I just put up anybody who got the Venmo. You know what it is. It's Actually, Venmo I don't have, but Zelle I do have. But and there's also the super chats. So there's that. Numbers are growing, man, and I appreciate y'all, man. If y'all think this is good for you and it's helping you, man, please tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Phone lines are open. I think I'm gonna take one more call and we're gonna shut it down for Sunday. We've been going for like an hour and a half already. If we get a good one, we get a good one. If not, we're gonna shut it down. I'm a little lazy today. But good calls, man. Thank y'all all for continuous support. Let me put something up. Y'all know where the Patreon is a great way. If you can't, hit the Cash App or whatever, you can go to www.patreon.com/manschool202. I constantly put extra like technique videos and stuff that we don't talk about on the lives. And it's being part of that. You get the archive for every episode that I've done. So stuff that we haven't done, even the old stuff that I've done, where we did one-on-one interviews with different people and so on and so forth. Be dope to check that out. That's patreon.com/manschool 202. Where's y'all know how to get the one-on-one consultations. It's one-on-one consultations at DanteNero.com. Just click on consult and you can get me in your phone right there with you. We'll chop it up if there's something a little more involved, or if you need just kind of structure things to get you to where you want. We can do that as well. One more time, I'll put this number up. It's an interesting thing that that initially this podcast was about relationships and women and the management, but I think what happens with time is that I started to realize that just managing women is a contradiction if you don't manage your own life. And understanding what your value is and what you bring to the world, you know what I'm saying? Because there are people around you that affect. We would just talk to this brother who's, got a brother with substance abuse that he's trying to be Captain Save-A-Ho. And the reality is that he's a grown man and so is his brother. And we get into these situations where we don't even realize that people's intention is to sabotage. And that happens because they have such low self-esteem that they're intentionally sabotaging themselves. And you don't want to be a part of that because they will drag you down with them. And just the story I was talking about, my man that was in the crack house and whatnot, we're best of friends right now. He ended up being a counselor, a youth counselor for underage, for kids who are strung out on drugs, became a director. I mean, and he's one of those dudes that I consider, he is a superhero because every pitfall that there was to fall into, he fell into. Single parenting home, foster care, basically adopted by 3 older women, fell into drugs, alcohol, felon, just everything that this country sets up for you to fall if you poor, if you poor white, if you like regular, or you black or whatever. Every pitfall that they're set up for us, use us as revenue streams because that's what the whole prison population and the bail and everything is. A prison, that is a way to, it's a business to develop money and to put you through, because rich people, and I'm not talking about, I don't care if you think that you rich, you ain't rich. What I'm talking about is rich people don't have those problems. They pay for the lawyers and they get passed. So what I'm saying is, but you also have to be in a situation where you have to take responsibility for the people that you bring around you. And if you're going to bring those people, if you're going to bring those people around you and consistently You're gonna consistently go through these situations where you're having these problems and you're allowing these same people to be a detriment to your success. I mean, you got to understand that you're making a choice to do that. And as you make that choice to do, you can't keep blaming the person that you know ain't shit in the first place, and their intention is to screw their life up as well. You gotta be in a situation where you're aware of the fact that you are allowing this negativity. You're allowing somebody who wants to sabotage their life, and by you letting them in your life, you make that mistake, and it ends up being a problem. The Cash App is up, the PayPal is up. I'm getting ready to shut this down. We've been up for an hour and 36. I'm trying to get one call left. Phone lines are open. 929-269-4922. What else? I'm actually working on this book. I'm trying to finish up with this book. Haven't been working on it as disciplined as I should be, just to show you that I fall off too. But the point is not whether you fall off, is that you get back on and you get back on the grind, and that's what the problem is always, everything is in ebbs and flows, and it happens. But man, I want to say that I'm really happy about the listenership and how the lives keep getting bigger. And y'all, I don't know whether you guys are sharing it with people or turning people. I mean, it's definitely, the views are going up. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all platforms. There's the YouTube is Dante Nero or Man School 202. Both of those. X is Dante Nero. Instagram is the Dante Nero, and Man School, the real Man School, is where the clips go up. We're gonna start putting these extra episodes up on the channel, as well as I'm really trying to get to the point where we're doing 3 lives a week, which would probably be Sunday, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. If y'all are about that, please like and comment and let me know that. Let's see. I want to see the subscribership go up. I mean, we should at least get 50 people more on the subscribership. This should grow. Please just subscribe and hit the bell so that every time we do a live that y'all get hit up. I appreciate y'all like you can't believe, man. This show, knowing that I'm helping people, it helps me get out of the bed. It makes life interesting for me. You know what I mean? Which is ill. That I'm lucky. I appreciate y'all, and I'm lucky that I have y'all backing me up and singing my praises and passing my name on. It's just a really dope feeling. We gonna shut this down. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? The Sexual Revolution is being podcasted. Yo, I love y'all, man. Don't forget, real quick, we put this up. One-on-one consultations. Y'all know how to get me. DanteNero.com. Click on consult. That's how you get me. Y'all know the Patreon. Real quick. Patreon.manschool202. Love it, love it, love it, love it. My G's. Appreciate y'all. Let me see what else we got. That's it. Let me see. Yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me see. Still working on that other thing too. Yo, I love y'all, man. Thank you so much for listening. We are out.